All right, Lindsey, what's in your lens today?
We're talking about frenemies. So the headline coming out of Friday's White House meeting wasn't just that New York Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani and President Donald Trump finally sat down. It's that the meeting actually worked. And in a political climate where everything feels like a cage match, the fact that the two didn't turn this into pay-per-view is a plot twist that America and I did not see coming. For days, the expectation was gladiator-style confrontation, two men on opposite ends of the political spectrum trading blows. But instead of fireworks, we got civility, even a little chemistry. And that says something. Not everything in politics has to be a blood sport. Here's a bit from the meeting.
I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have hopefully a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am. I will say there's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything. And we're going to be helping him to make everybody's dream come true, having a strong and very safe New York. I expect to be helping him, not hurting him. A big help, because I want New York City to be great.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay.
It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
What we saw on Friday was very on brand for Mamdani, whose superpower has been really charming skeptics and even straight up adversaries, from taxi drivers we've seen him with to real estate moguls and apparently even a president. Trump has always had a soft spot for winners, and Mamdani's underdog victory clearly caught his attention. His earlier digs, calling Mamdani a, quote, communist, now feel more like hazing than hostility. Now, these two men actually have more in common than either camp would admit. Both are populists. They're both outsiders and disruptors that question the establishment. And they both know firsthand that New York real estate prices could humble a billionaire and a democratic socialist in the same breath. By the time they stepped in front of the cameras, the tone was surprisingly cordial. Trump even said to a reporter after the meeting, quote, "We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. I want him to do a great job, and we'll help him do a great job." That's something, especially from a president who, before the meeting and during the campaign trail for Mamdani, threatened to deport Mamdani. And on Sunday's Meet the Press, Mamdani didn't walk back anything he said in the past either.
Just to be very clear, do you think that President Trump is a fascist?
And after President Trump said that, I said yes. And
so you do?
And that's something that I've said in the past. I say it today. And I think what I appreciated about the conversation that I had with the president was that we were not shy about the places of disagreement, about the politics that has brought us to this moment. And we also wanted to focus on what it could look like to deliver on a shared analysis of an affordability crisis for New Yorkers.
And that last line is the real story. Affordability, housing, childcare, groceries, the basic costs crushing people were at the heartbeat of Mamdani's campaign. And they're also very similar to the ones that Trump campaigned on. Now, when two politicians from totally different solar systems respond to the same pain points, maybe the country isn't as divided as the headlines suggest. Yes, they've traded insults for months. Yes, this meeting could have gone off the rails, but it didn't. And as a native New Yorker with families still navigating the chaos of the city, I can tell you, people actually welcome this moment. Not because they suddenly agree on politics, but because they're exhausted. Exhausted by partisan theater. Exhausted by leaders who seem more interested in scoring points than lowering costs. This wasn't a political love story. It was a grown-up one. A reminder that if two men who call each other everything but a child of God can sit down and talk affordability, maybe there's hope for the rest of these politicians.
Yeah, I was, I guess, a little surprised at how well they got along, but thinking about it more, Trump because Trump is such a star, he recognizes star power, and the truth is that Zohran Mamdani, while I don't like his ideas at all, and I wish he had not won.
Oh, just skip all that, just say he's a star.
He does have a certain amount of, he has charisma and he has star power. It's clear that he does. And Trump appreciates that about him. I also think Trump clearly likes to be adored. He likes positive attention. He likes friendliness and warmth. And I think sometimes, but now that he's won totally over the Republican Party and the conservative movement, I think sometimes the praise he gets from his cabinet people or conservative talking heads is so sycophantic and so obligatory that it doesn't scratch that same itch. So to get, even some warmth from someone who totally disagrees with him, I think he kind of appreciates that more. He liked the guy. What can he say? He liked the guy. They got along, and I hope them getting along means good things for New York. And that would be fine.
It's so touch and go because I think why everyone was on edge is because we've seen leaders in the White House get completely berated, whether it was by J.D. Vance and Trump or just Trump, the president of Ukraine.
I mean, Zelensky's really the only one,
well,
though.
no,
For the most part, he
remember
gets
the president
along.
of South Africa came in there and they had news articles. They just completely lambasted that man. They didn't give him a chance to. They had a plan of attack that was going to be on national TV. So no one knew what was coming. Even with the attack on Marjorie Taylor Greene, you would think they would have sorted it out. This became a public
Well, but that
spat
wasn't to her face.
It wasn't to her face, but it became really public, and she even quit to that extent. So we know that he doesn't hold tongue for anybody. So why
he was complimenting a former ISIS fighter who now heads Syria, right? He likes to entertain people. He asked one Arab state leader recently how many wives he has and joked about it, right? He's a content creator first. He's a reality TV star. He likes to create good television moments, and them getting along was one of them.
And I think I've seen a lot of pieces written by a lot of mainstream media like, oh, New Yorkers don't want to see this. Well, I don't know. I lived in New York my whole life, and most of my family still lives there. People certainly don't want to see nothing happen. I think with the stress and anxiety people have over the lack of things that Congress actually is accomplishing, people would like to see more dialogue happen. And what are we going to do? I mean, we're still in year one of President Trump's presidency. Either we're going to work on something together or we're not. And we're not going to get anything accomplished. And so I think with Mamdani leaving there and seeming confident that he shared his philosophy, and he said this on Meet the Press about not having ICE come into New York, perhaps a dialogue can be had. And I always think that the president, who is where the buck should stop on everything and start because he's the leader of this country, should initiate that calm civil dialogue with mayors and governors of states before sending ICE or national troops into their cities and states. But since Mamdani called this meeting and came to the president and said that he has full trust in the NYPD to do its job and won't need any national troops anywhere to deal with immigration or anything else, it seems like the president said he will back off of that idea. And Mamdani feels confident that he will. So it's been interesting to see their dynamic. And is President Trump trying to send a message like, schedule a meeting with me and you'll get what you want? And to me, that's so petty, but let's just please, because people a lot of people don't want the National Guard in their cities and states. And so maybe these meetings are more beneficial than you could think they might be. And that's a good thing.
Also, I don't agree, obviously, that Trump is a fascist, but the idea that, let's say he was a fascist and Mamdani is a socialist, the idea that fascists and socialists can't get along.
No, he called him a communist. He keeps calling Mamdani a communist.
Okay, the fascists, fascist Germany and communist Soviet Union had a non-aggression principle initially in place. The fascist movement in Germany began as the National Socialist Party. The policies of fascism and socialism are not incompatible. They both involve massive government control of the means of production, the industries, the making the economy serve the nation. They're both anti-market ideologies. They have plenty in common. Now, I think they're both terrible ideologies, to be clear, but they get along with each other perfectly fine and have historically. So the idea that, if you're a socialist, you must hate a fascist and vice versa. No, too much of them agreeing is going to be bad for the economy. Let me tell you, that's how those things go down, because they start tinkering with the operations of markets, which are the only things that actually bring down prices and create prosperity. So I would not like to see I think it's a red-brown alliance. That's very scary.
I think that this is like that Joe Rogan thing playing out that we saw happen. How could you support Trump and how could you also support Bernie Sanders? Well, look, this is an example. I mean, they're in the office. They agree. I mean, President Trump has agreed to invest government funds into privatized companies.
And I hate that.
That is not particularly Republican, right?
It's fascist and socialist.
Okay, so maybe that's why my argument on Friday, which is why I wanted to talk about it again today with Amber, was that they are very similar. They are very similar policy-wise. President Trump has departed from a lot of what the traditional Republicans would do, but you call that anomaly something that's the new Republican Party. So it's going to be interesting, like I keep saying, to see what happens when he leaves, because a lot of what he does, even raising costs, raising our debt, all these things are not traditional conservative policies. So where does the party even stand after all this?
There's some aspects of traditional conservatism that I like having shaken up, particularly on the foreign policy side of things, where I think Trump has done a lot of good. On the economic side, I'm much less convinced, and I'm a little worried about any new fondness for socialism. It's bad even when it's a Republican idea. Next up, the Trump administration is defending the Ukraine-Russia peace plan after lawmakers alleged that the U.S. had little to no input in that plan. Stay with us.